Welcome creators, I'm the Hommeyosh, and this is part 5 of my third-person game series in Unreal Engine 5. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe and turn on notification because we already covered a lot in this series. From health and damage system to respawn mechanics and an extra life system, and a fully working game over screen, all built with blueprints and game instance logic. Now in part 5, I will be adding a weapon to this character skeleton. Also, I will be building a start menu that lets the player start or quit the game with background music from the Unreal Starter Pack. With that said, let's fire up the Unreal Editor and dive in. Okay, I'm actually going to jump out of the editor real quick, and I'm going to go inside of the Fab Store. Actually, I'm going to go in I'm going into the Fab Store. And I'm going to bring up a free fantasy weapon sample. Now, let me bring that up where you can go online here. You just go to the Fab Store and you want to type in free weapon sample pack. I'm going to put this link in the description. So we're going to view this in my library. I'm just going to go and you can add it to your library. And once you do that, you just go into the library section of the in the Unreal game launcher. Scroll down to your libraries and just refresh it, and you should just type weapons and it should pop up. So you just want to add that to your project. You just go in here. Now if you don't see your project, hit the show all projects, and like you see my my game here, it doesn't show up, but if I go and click on it, it says the best version, it's not with the 5.6, is the 5.5, and there it goes. And now you can load it to your project. Should take a little minute. Alright, now once you go back into your editor, you should see it in your content, and there it is, the weapons pack. And what I want to do is I want to open my third person character, and I want to go to the view part. Your first person character, if you look under your content, it should be under third person. Actually, go back here. Under your third person, under your blueprints folder, and then you'll see your third person. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first I'm going to change this material. I'm just going to put it back at the Mani material. And we want to change the second element. 0 is basically 1, and then the first would be like the second element. So same thing. Put in Mani 2. Okay, we got him back, so I'm going to compile and save that. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to find the third person skeleton. So the best way to do it, under the details panel, select your first in the viewport, select your character. It should highlight it yellow, and go into under your details panel, and right under mesh you'll see a skeletal mesh asset, and if you scroll over to the right here, you'll see like a little folder with a magnifying glass. Go ahead and click on that. Now if you see under my contents has changed now. It has all the Manis, the Quinn characters, and it also has a skeleton, but it has one skeleton because they're all under the same skeleton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the skeleton, and what I want to do is look for the right hand. So you just hit R. Actually, let's do hand, and as you can see, there's the right hand there. Close that out, and what I want to do is I want to right click and add a socket. Now I want to call this socket weapon. Okay, and also I want to make sure I have that name saved. Oops, no. So I'm going to Control S. Okay, so now that I got that, I want to make sure I have it positioned right. Make sure that centers at the right spot. Bring it down right there. Okay, so now I want to preview. I want to right click and you'll see add preview asset. Now before I do that, I want to go back into my content. Okay, something's not right. Content drawer. Okay. Yeah, and I want to look under my content weapons pack. I want to find the weapon that I want. So I want to go under skeletal mesh. Hey, there's a lot of different here. You can use the axe, you can use the sword. I'm going to use the mace for now on. I mean, maybe use the sword. We can go back and, yeah, I want to try the mace. So what I want you to do is F2 to copy the name, and then hit Control S to save it. So now I want to go back over to the weapons, and I want to hit right click, add preview asset, and this search asset, we want to put that name of the mace. So there's the mace right there, and click on that, and as you can see, it added it to the right spot. Just gotta make sure that the center is lined up correctly. You can have it down here, more here. So I want to change the size of this a little bit. Well, we don't have to worry about that. We just need the socket correct. So now that that's done, we're gonna save it. I'm gonna bring this over here. There we go. So I want to go back into the blueprint BP third person character. That was in the third person folder under the subfolder blueprints, and there's your BP third person character. So in here, what I want to do is select the character, and I want to add a skeletal mesh. So if you hit add, you have all these different options. We want skeletal mesh, so we're going to click on skeletal mesh. We're going to call it weapon. Okay, so now what I want to do that's already zeroed out. I want to go, okay, in the detail panel with weapon selected, the skeletal mesh, I want to go ahead and change the skeletal mesh to our mace. And there's our mace right there, SK underscore mace. Okay, and as you can see, our mace popped up. And now what I want to do, if under the details panel, under sockets, if it's closed up, you can open it up. And right over where you have the folder and the little magnifying glass, just click on that, and then go and type in weapon. Okay, and it's not the weapon or right muzzle, we just want weapon. Okay, and as you can see, since this is all zeroed out, it went straight on, scaled straight to his hand. But I want to bring this down a little bit. I think 0.85. Okay, that looks a lot better. Actually, I'm just gonna go with 0.9. There we go. Okay, so now you can compile and save and hit play. And now as you can see, it has his mace on there, but it doesn't look right. Something's wrong, so it's off a little bit. So let's go check that out. So I just want to, in the location, just want to bring that, center that up, -1, and bring it down a little bit, center it a little bit more. That seems about right. Oh, we can bring it up a little bit more. There we go. It looks like it needs spinned a little bit. Let's go and change that. Okay, all that looks well. Looking good so far. So we're going to pile and save. Now, also, if you wanted for a little bit of style, if you want to go ahead and do your particle systems, You go ahead and add some of your particle, maybe some fire. Let's go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. So 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. We got to take it down like 0.01. Okay, 0.01 looks good. So with we don't want the weapon, with the particle system selected, we can move it and just move it on the tip here so it looks like it's on fire. So now we compile that and save and play. You can see that the top is glowing. Now if we create a different, we can add different particle systems, so you can change the colors on this, like add whatever you want to add. It's all up to you. That's as far as we're going to do in this video as far as equipping the weapon. I will do a video about this later on, adding some animations where you hit a key for him to swing, right click on the mouse and left click on the mouse and you'll be able to swing. So we'll do that later on the next video. So that's it for that part of it. So we're going to dive into the main menu portion. So I want to go into UIs here, and I want to create a different widget. Now you could just go ahead and, in the last video, if you already made an end game, you can go ahead and save. Just go ahead and duplicate that and just call it main menu widget. So let me set a game over. Main menu. And all you have to do is go in there and change a couple things. And you just go ahead and change the respawn in the end. But we're going to go ahead and make the whole, do it over. Just make our own. Okay, we're going to delete that one. And I'm just going to go under UI interfaces, user interfaces, and we want to find widget blueprint and just go ahead and click that. Up top you would see a user widget, just go ahead and click that, and we're going to get rid of the blueprint, and we're going to keep widget, and we're just going to put main menu. Okay, so we got the widget made, main menu widget, great. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new level. So while we're in the viewport, make sure we're under the third person map or any kind of map that you're on. You want to go under file up top, and you want to make a new level, not open level. You want to make a new level. Now we just want to make an empty level. Now if you want to, depends on what you really want to do. If you want to make it look kind of cool and stuff, you can just go ahead and basic, and you can add different things. It doesn't matter. It's all your preference. I like the background where I can just add anything. So I'm going to go ahead and create that level. Save selected everything. Make sure your background is selected. Now I'm going to go back in under files, and I want to save current level as. Okay, so we're going to call this the menu. Now we're going to call it main menu. Okay, so that's all saved. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go under our level blueprints. So we're going to open level blueprints. Okay, so now we're in level blueprints. What I want to do is I want to create it where it opens up right when you open in that menu. I mean the level when you open up the menu level, it's going to automatically open up our widget. So under event begin play, we're going to get rid of event tick. We want to do create main menu widget. So we're going to go create a widget. Okay. So the widget name, not midget, would be our main menu. It's main menu widget. Okay, so we're going to add that to viewport. Okay, clean this up a little bit. Now, I also want to get player controller, like in the end video we did. There's controller. Okay, so slide this under here, and I want to get show mouse cursor. Well, set mouse cursor. Set mouse cursor, or set show mouse cursor is what we want. And we're going to go ahead and click that trill. Okay, so this is going to make sure that we have our mouse cursor. And next we are going to set the input UI mode. So let's go ahead and do that. Set input mode UI only. That's exactly what we want. And what are we setting? We're going to get our target return value, and we're going to drag this into the widget to focus. Okay, so, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure we have the get player controller, and we'll put that into the player controller. And we compile and save. Okay, well, the next thing we're going to do is, I should have done in the beginning, we're going to go back into the main menu level viewport, and we're going to go into world settings, and we're going to get our game mode. Okay, so our game mode override is set to none, but as the last video, we made our own game mode. Game over GM is the one we made. But if you're just making this new, just go ahead and create a new game mode. You just hit this little plus button here, and then you just go ahead and put it under UI or blueprints or whatever, and you just save it. But just make sure that you check the default pawn class as none. Okay, so that's done. We're gonna save that. So that's gonna, let me show you what happens if we have the third person game mode selected. Our character is going to show up in the middle, and he's just going to keep falling because there's nothing there, and we don't want that. So that's the whole reason why we do the game over, or just make it where we have our default pawn class set as none. Now, if you go ahead and change the game mode itself to none, the third person game mode, and you go to play it in another level, it's going to pop up with no character at all. So you just want to make sure you have your own game mode set for your game over or your main menus. Okay, so it's my game over and my main menu are the same, so we're just going to go with the game over game mode, and that sets everything just fine. So when you hit play, there's no character. Okay, so now we want to go into the widget that we created. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a canvas, and we're going to drag that in to the screen, and we're going to center this off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some text. I guess a text block will be fine. And what I want to do is go under the details panel, and I want to make sure I center that text. And you want the position that you want to be negative 460. Wait, what's going on? And then our position Y is going to be negative 250. Okay. Our size is going to be set to 920 for the Y, or for the X. And for Y, 116. Oh, we don't have the... Okay, I want to move this over. Make sure that was 920. Oops. Yeah, 920. Oh, yeah, and 116. Okay, great. All right, next we want to make sure our font is set at 80. Right now it's at 20, so we're going to do 80. And I want to make sure that it is blue. Okay, and I'm going to do, you can call it whatever you want. I'm just making this the third person game. Okay, third person game. Oh, this needs to be right there. Now we just want to center this up, make sure that this is centered. So let's just go with this -510. That looks pretty good. Okay, then we're gonna add some buttons, of course. We're gonna add 2 buttons. And our first button is going to be anchored to the center, right? And our positions are going to be 100. Position X is 100 and 0. Okay. And their size 600 to 100. Okay, and then I want to fade this out a little bit. So under the background color, and then you can just fade it out. And just change this, let's say 0.5. Let's go 0.3. Looks pretty good. And we can darken that up a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Actually, let's just keep that the way it is for now. Okay, and then we're going to bring in another button, and we're going to do it to the opposite side. We are going to anchor to the center right. Okay, and for this one, we are going to have a -6, for the X position, we're going to have a -675. And we are going to zero out the Y position. That's centered there. And then again, we're doing 600 by 100. Okay, and our background color, we're going to go ahead and change this to 0.3. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is bring in another text box for, actually no, I want to make sure that I have these labeled. Make sure button 1 is start. Oops, I have 2, and then hit start. And button 1, we're going to make end. And button. It's good to make sure you have track of everything. Okay, so in this button, we're going to get a text box. We're just going to drag it in the center here. And we're going to change the name of that. This is going to be start game. We're going to hit enter, and that changed down here, so we don't need to change that. And we're going to get another text box, and we are going to end game. Okay, and that changed down here too. All right, so let's go ahead and, okay, so I'm gonna fix that. There we go. That fixes that. Okay, so under our text, I want to make sure that I have 65 for the size. Okay, why does it say plus? I don't want it to say plus. And the same with the end game, 65. And I'm going to make this one green. And under the alpha, I want to put it at 0.8. And under the end game, I want to change that to red. And set the alpha 0.8. Alright, so now what's left is adding in some logic. But before I do that, I want to do some animation. So with my text selected, a third-person game, I want to put the add in a menu, and we'll call that a third-person animation. Okay, and there it is right there, third-person animation. Select the third-person animation, and we're just going to go ahead and add in some animations. Okay, our first animation, we're going to get off the screen. So we want to move our position. So we want to make position X, we're going to put this at 2500. And next to it is like a little arrow. It says add a keyframe property. We're just going to go ahead and add keyframe there. So we're going to slide this over to 1.5. And then we're just going to bring this back to a -450. So it goes back to the center, and we're going to go ahead and add another keyframe. So now we got our animation. We hit play, and there's our animation. So let's add some logic to these. First, we're going to go and select on our first button here. And we are going to go and scroll down to on click. So event, it's all the way at the bottom here. On clicked, and we're going to hit the little plus button, and it's going to take us to the graph editor. So we're going to just, for on click, this is the start, on click start button. What we want to do is first play a sound. At location, we'll pick the sound out later. I'm going to put a delay. Okay, so I'm going to do, I guess, a 0.5. For my delay, and then we're just gonna, like before, open label by name. Okay, now the label by name that we're going to open would be our main menu level. Let's make sure we get everything correct. So we go under our third person, go under maps, and there's our main menu. I'm going to hit F2, and then I'm just going to copy that and put that in right here. You got to make sure you have the spelling correct. So we're going to copy and save that. And the next thing I want to do is I want to get player controller. Okay, get my player controller. And we're going to set the show mouse cursor. So we're just going to show mouse cursor. Okay, set show mouse cursor. And we're going to do the opposite. So we're doing the opposite of showing the mouse cursor, because we showed the mouse cursor on when we opened up the main menu. So now we want to stop that, and we want to put, and like before we set the input to UI only, we want to set that back to game only. So we got set input mode to game only. And then we're going to make sure that we have our player controller selected. Put that in there. We can clean it up by double clicking, add a little node separation here. Okay, so we want to comment this out. Let's highlight everything and just hit C and just put start game. And you can have it green or whatever color you want, so you know that's my starter game menu. Okay, so the next we want to do, before we do the next button, is get rid of the on tick, and we want event construct. We just want to play an animation. Okay, so the animation, let's bring this up here, is the third person animations. If you look on like for the variables, then you got animations, there's our third person, and we want to drag this into our animation. So that's already set. So we want to give it a delay of 0.8. Now, 0.8 works for me. It's just after you push it, it gives it a little time. And then you just play sound at location. Oh, what's going on here? There it is. All right. If you do have the starter pack, you can go ahead and find an animation, a sound inside the starter pack. I have just the enable button. There you go. Unclick. That's fine. Okay. Actually, let's get rid of the delay for now. If we're just doing unclicked. Actually, yeah, we do want to have a delay, so you can hear the button and it doesn't the sound. But we're going to put it back at 0.2 for now. You just listen to the sound. So that's about, let's do 0.3. And this will be this comment. Oh, yeah. That's your animation. Make this a different color. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go back into the designer and I'm going to make sure you hit the background. Don't hit the texture, make sure you hit the background. Remember, we're going to scroll down here to the on-clicked and we're going to hit that. And it's going to bring the on-click, or you can type it in on-clicked and it'll show up. Their event on-clicked is what you want. Okay, yeah, just do it the way I did. Just event on click is what you want, or you can go over to the event graph here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a simple to play sound at location. That's an option anyways. You don't have to play sound. Delay it a little bit. And then you want to just quit game. And that's going to quit it to the desktop. And then just comment that out. I'd go with a red. Pile, save, and play. There's everything. We can start our game. And it plays our game for us. Everything's functioning just correctly. Now there's one more thing. If you want, as soon as you open up your editor, to go straight to the main menu, what you want to do is go into your editor, open project settings, and go with maps and modes. And under default maps, just go ahead and do the main menu level, and make sure you do it under the game default map as well. So you got the editor startup map and the game default map. So now when you start up the game, it's going to automatically go to the main menu. So when you hit play, you get your, well, it's not, because it's all crammed up right here. Let's go into the third person, hit play. And when you start your game, Oh, that's the problem. I'm opening up the main menu. Oh, we want to change that. We want to go to the third person map or level 1, whatever you're working with. That's the problem. That's what we want to do. So we'll just change this name. So everything was working correctly. So you can compile and save that. So when you hit the on start click, it should go up to the third person. So you go to the third person. There it is. So just go ahead and damage this guy real quick. I'm gonna fast forward this. And he dies. It goes over to like end game. And then if we want to respawn, we can respawn. But as soon as we start, there's our menu. You see our character has his weapon attached. And that's going to be it. And that wraps us up for part 5 of our third-person game series in Unreal. You now have a basic sword equipped along with a full functional start menu UI that launches your level and provides game options. In part 3, we'll continue building from this, possibly adding some animations, and when you hit the right button, you can swing his base. So hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out what's next. I'm the Hommeyosh, and as always, stay inspired and keep creating.